Hey guys, Gary's here from SizeTrade, and I wanted to give you another inspirational speech because we got a lot of good emails. You guys really like the content out there, and so I wanted to just go into it a little bit more. I got some content from people asking me questions who have never traded before, who are listening, and I guess they have a job or a career, and they're sick and tired of it, or they're looking to make a change and go into trading, and they don't have the confidence yet, and I totally understand that it's really difficult to quit your job, good paying job, and go in. So I want to kind of talk about that. I wanted to talk to people. We got a couple of emails from people who don't have jobs and they're looking for different opportunities out there, but they're not quite sure what to grab onto. So firstly, I want to say if you're gonna get into trading, you either have to team up with a good team. Could be at SizeTrade, could be any place else that you find a good team. It's not so easy to find, but if you do your research, I'm sure you could find something out there. Now, once you have a team in place, membership, a community where you can bounce ideas off, ask questions, it's really important to put in the time. You got to sit down and work. Like I said, if you're not passionate about trading, if you're not passionate about the markets, if you're not passionate about um, stock market, stocks, futures, whatever it may be, commodities, then this is probably not the place for you to be. If you're looking just to make a couple of quick bucks without doing any work, and you think trading is the place to be, I'm telling you right now, it's definitely not. It's definitely a difficult environment for traders. I mean, all of the guys who are with us know that it's not easy to make money because if it was, everybody would do it and everybody would crush it and everybody would go home millionaires. The reason why it was so easy in the 80s and 90s was that it was difficult to get into those places that allowed you to trade. So day trading became popular only as internet became popular to come to people's houses. Before that, trading was easy, but it was hard to get a job at a trading firm because you had to compete with all of these high-level education MBAs coming out of Harvard, MIT, University of Chicago, University of Pennsylvania. All these guys were coming out, so an average Joe who came out of even NYU, which is a pretty decent college, university, probably didn't have an opportunity to at least get on a trading desk. He could have got on maybe an assistant or something like that and worked his way up, and that was great. But it was definitely not easy because those jobs were held really tightly by people who had them because the money was so easy to make and you could make tremendous amount of money. So now, going back to now, everybody could get in. There's no barrier of entry. So they've made it a lot more difficult by making the market more difficult because if it was easy, everybody would do it, and that just wouldn't make sense because everybody would make money, nobody would lose. And we all know that for a market to work, somebody has to lose, somebody has to make on every given trade. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a, if you're thinking about getting into trading, I wanted to give you a little bit of inspiration here and tell you it's definitely doable. All these things you read about 99% of traders lose money, it's probably accurate. I don't know, but those guys, like I said yesterday in the podcast yesterday, they're on an island. They're sitting at home by themselves. They have no community to fall back on. They have no people to shoot ideas off of. They're not getting any input whatsoever. They're trying to do it on their own. And when they sign up to classes, the majority of them they're not good. The majority of them are there just to take your money. That's why so many traders are so skeptical about finding a community that gives so much knowledge like we do for free, is because there's so many guys out there who charge for a lot less than we give out for free. So, anyways, going back, look, if you're sitting at home and you have nothing better to do because you're out of a job, you're retired, whatever it is, you're looking for some either income or supplemental income, then I gotta say something. Right now is the time to do it. I mean, we're living in this technological marvel. I mean, if you're sitting on your butt and you're watching Netflix or playing video games or playing around with YouTube videos for hours and hours a day, then you're not serious. Like if you want to make the change, I'm just being honest here. If you want to make a change and you want to make a ton of money, you want to make your life better, you want to really take your lifestyle to the next level, increase your lifestyle, be able to travel the world, be able to really afford anything that you want, you need to put the time and effort. You can't just be like, oh, well, I'll do it tomorrow. Or you can't be like, well, I want to binge whatever, Orange is the New Black or whatever, and then I'll put the time in later on today, and then you start, you forget about it, and then you take a nap. Like, that's not how traders are. Traders are the most aggressive. We're sharks. We're to be a trader, you have to have it in your personality. You have to love the markets. This has to be your life. I keep saying that because it's true. It has to be your life. If you're thinking it's a 9 to 5 job and you disconnect when you get home, you're not going to make it, because Japan is just as important, or not maybe just as important, but almost as important as the US market. So when Japan opens, you need to be able to at least comprehend what needs to happen in Japan for your outcome to happen here. So if you ignore the BOJ or what China is doing with their fiscal stimulus or the ECB, if you ignore those huge catalysts and you come in and you just trade in from 9:30 to 4, whatever it may be, or you think you could trade for 934, you're wrong, because a lot of times our markets reflect what's going on in the world, what the ECB does, what the BOJ does, what's happening in China. It's so interconnected now. It's so globalized, and that's good and bad. It's bad because you need to really pay attention to all these different places. Like before, probably 1960s, 1970s, 1980s, you could probably trade being U.S. centric, but we also have the ability on the internet for absolutely free, and if you're willing to pay for some stuff that's really good, to get knowledge, um, to get news, to get what's coming out, what do the numbers mean, to get analyst reports. I used to pay thousands and thousands of dollars for analyst reports. Now you can probably find them for free if you Google them and you know what to Google. So I'm going back to you guys and saying, if you want to make your life better, if this is the reason why you're listening. If you're listening to it and you love your life, you have a great job, spectacular. You just want to learn more about the markets, that's awesome. But if you're sitting there and you're miserable and you really want to make a change in your life and you just don't know what to do, right now is the time. The environment is right for you with the way the internet is set up, for you to be able to go out there and just crush it, absolutely crush it. And there's different places you could crush it. I'm not just saying stock trading or futures trading is the only place you could crush it. But the point is that if that's what you're interested in, you could crush it in this market. This market is ripe for it. We're at 23,000 on the Dow. We're at 2,300 on S&P. These are big numbers. So when the market moves, we could catch even a quarter of a percent or half a percent. You can make money in these types of markets. It's not like it was in the 1940s or 50s where the Dow was the S&P. Well, that's before, but the Dow was at under 1,000 points or 500 points, where it would move 5 points a day. The market is liquid and volatile. We have trillions of dollars coming in. I mean, BlackRock, I think, has 5 trillion under management for this market, just for ETFs and stuff. So the opportunity is there. You just have to be willing to put in the time and effort. B, you have to be willing to take the risk and say, this is what I want to do. Don't think about it for 6 months. Don't think about it for a year. If you really want to make a change, if you're miserable in your life, just do it. You can't expect uh, going to the gym for a couple hours a day, which is really healthy and good, but you can't expect by going to the gym that you're going to make a financial change in your life. You might make a health change in your life, and that's great. But if you're sitting on your ass at home and you're not going to the gym and you're not looking for work, you're not studying, you're not reading, you're not looking into real estate market, you're not looking at stock market, you're not looking into marketing. There's so many things right now that are open to the little guy that 20, 30 years ago wasn't. If you wanted a job at Goldman Sachs 20 years ago, you better have finished Harvard with a 4.0. You better know somebody. The average guy like us. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we have some Ivy League listeners, but the average person out there did not go to Ivy League school and finish top of his class. So now we have the opportunity to make money. 30, 40 years ago, I wouldn't most likely be a trader. I'd be doing whatever, accounting, something else. But now I'm able to be a trader. I'm able to pull in the big money because the internet opened up this world for us and made a playing level field. They said, hey, you know what? If you think you're smart enough to compete with Harvard guys, with University of Chicago guys, if you understand the markets, if you're willing to work as hard as them, you could compete with them. So if you want to make a change in your life, if you're looking to finally say, you know what, I want some financial independence, I want to be able to finally get away from what I'm doing, do something that I really love, be my own boss. There's nothing for me. There's nothing better than trading. If you're into real estate, that's also great. But again, the same thing applies. You have to get off your ass. You have to, instead of spending 8 hours watching whatever binge on Netflix or YouTube or whatever it is, you got to spend 8 hours in front of a computer every single day reading about what you love. Is it commercial real estate? Is it residential real estate? Is it the markets? Is it the commodity market? You got to go so deep into it, and not only one day. Don't say, oh well, I'm gonna do it today. Gary told me to do it, and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna see. No, no. If you want to get into the stock market, because that's what I'm gonna talk about specifically here, you got to get off your ass and put in 12, 14, 16, 17, 18 hours a day if you can. The more the better. Every single trader has a certain amount of number of hours he has to put in before he understands the market and can make money. You could do those hours over 5 years, or you could do those hours over 6 months. The faster you do it, and the better you contemplate it, the better you understand it, the faster you're going to be successful and make money. I mean, it's just logic to me at this point. Like, look, when I first started out, I was in university. I was sitting there and I was taking normal 6 class load or whatever it was. I don't remember. Coming into school at 11 a.m., coming back home 6 o'clock, hanging out with my friends in the city. It was a great time. And I asked myself, this is a great opportunity. I'm still living with my parents. My parents were from Brooklyn, immigrants from Brooklyn. And I was like, you know what? Why don't I take advantage of not having any bills or very few bills? Why don't I take advantage of this and go out there and instead of just having a part-time job to have some extra spending cash so I could go out on the weekends, why don't I go out there and see if I can build a career? And guess what? If it doesn't work out, I'll walk away. I still get my college degree and I'll become an accountant or whatever, broker, whatever I would have become if I didn't get into trading. So I sent out my resume. Every single person laughed at me. You don't understand. Every one of my friends, except for one who ended up doing it with me, every single one laughed. Who's going to give you money to trade? You out of your mind? Da, 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 da. We sent out our resume to every single big shop in New York City, and we got no interviews, zero. Then we sent out our resume out further. Said, you know what? I'm willing to drive an hour and a half every single freaking day to get the opportunity to trade. And we sent out our resume to a bunch of places. One place out in upstate New York in Westchester replied. We went up there, did an interview. They loved it. They loved it that we were young and so passionate about trading. I had some knowledge because I was working as an assistant trader already at a hedge fund. We got the job, me and my partner, and we worked harder than the next guy. We were both in the same university at the time, and we would wake up. I'd pick him up from his place at 6 o'clock in the morning. We'd make the drive all the way out to Westchester. We'd put in the hours before the market opened. We'd put in the work when the market was open. We'd put in the work after hours to just go through our trades. Then we'd hustle back to the city and do night school until midnight, get back to Brooklyn at 1, 2 in the morning. I stopped going out on the weekends. I didn't have energy. That's when I slept. Otherwise, between studying for tests, studying for the Series 7, studying for the Series 55, trading, doing everything, all of these things was just, I didn't have time even for myself. So Saturday and Sunday, I would just pass out for 24, 48 hours and not see anybody. But it was something I was willing to do because the downside was limited. The limited downside was that I go back to university and college, and I go back to hanging out with my friends, and all is good. And me and my partner, we put in the time. It was great. At the time, he wasn't my partner. We were just buddies. Eventually, we opened up a broker dealer together. Eventually, we had a trading desk together. That's when we became business partners. But the point is that you have to do something. You can't just sit around and say, "Oh, I want some type of change. I'm really looking for change." No, if you love the markets, if you're passionate about markets, if you feel like this is for you, if you feel like you have the capability of making money in the market, just put in the time, put in the effort. You don't have to risk a lot of money to start. You just put it in. Start with paper trading. Listen to knowledge. Listen to us. Find some other places that you like. There's so many great hedge fund managers that they don't give you real time stuff, but you can kind of see by their books and kind of see how their mind process was in the past, and you can really crush it and make money and live the dream, and you have very little to lose. So now's the time. If you're sitting on the sidelines and thinking, hey, maybe I should trade, maybe I don't trade. I'm listening to this podcast because I think it's interesting and I really like it and it really appeals to me. And you're having a miserable time at work. You hate your boss, whatever it is, whatever the reason is, you're not happy. Hey, give us a call, email us. We'll love to help you guys out, create a community. But if not, just take the step and do it. Either in trading, in real estate, whatever it is. I can just tell you from the bottom of my heart, now is the time. Don't push it off. Do it now. You'll be grateful. All right, thanks guys. Bye.